randomly on a Friday afternoon to share episode 16 today. I'm checking my calendar. Yes, it's the 16th of September, and I've been practicing some free motion sketching every day this month. I'm trying to make it through all of Sketchtember and give you some ideas about how different designs can develop and play in different spaces in your quilt. So I firmly believe that practice improves your skills. I'm not going to say perfect because nothing is perfect in this world. But the more you practice, the more comfortable you are, the more these designs will flow naturally. So grab a sketchbook, whatever you like to use for your practice, and let's get started today. I have my trusty whiteboard. I like to keep a portable whiteboard. I've got one on the wall in my laundry room, and I can do a quick sketch there before I go up to quilt, especially if it's a block pattern or a space that I have an idea for, but I haven't tried previously. I'll warm up with some sketching. But today we're going to try something a little bit different that I hope you will enjoy, that I call a square meander. And this works really well for more masculine quilts or things with strong graphic elements. So a normal meander, just curvy, wavy lines all over the place. I'm going to take those curves out of it, and I'm just going to make squares and rectangles. Again, with square meander, I'm crossing my lines, not really worried about intersections there. And you do have to plan your direction, how you're going to get out of the space. You don't want to get trapped off into one corner. Obviously, on actual patchwork, you have seam lines that I use to stitch in the ditch and travel quite a bit. But let me break down my square meander. I tend to extend my line and then draw the square behind. So I'm stitching in that direction. I get to the furthest point and come back to make my square or rectangle. If you want to keep moving across the quilt, you would need to make your square behind your stitching line. So here was my stitching line, and you can see I came behind to continue. So you can do behind, you can go out front, cross over, and then come back and fill in the gaps. Just keeping everything at right angles. And it just makes a really interesting texture. I said earlier that this would be good for masculine quilts. Anything that has that strong graphic or that feel of perhaps science fiction or circuitry, mechanics, those kind of things. Obviously, I would not use this fill on a soft floral quilt. It doesn't go. A lot of times you want to have contrast in your quilt. So you may do straight line quilting across a quilt that has a lot of curves, and vice versa. If you've got a lot of square blocks, you may throw in some spirals and circles and things, because that contrast does make things interesting, but that doesn't really flow. Although for a very modern quilt, you could have a lot of curved piecing and throw in the square meandering and build in some of that contrast there. So that would be fun. Juxtaposition of designs there that always makes things really interesting. So a fairly simple idea, but something you may not have thought of or considered for your quilting path. And as I have a reminder scrolling across the bottom of the screen today, tomorrow, the third Saturday in September, is National Jelly Roll Day. So a self-proclaimed quilting holiday, not self-proclaimed by me, but self-proclaimed by the quilting industry. So grab a jelly roll and sew with strips. I have some I have not recent videos. There's one recent one from last year. I have a video on my top 5 jelly roll patterns that you can take a look at. And I also recently put out a video on DIY methods for cutting your strips. So if you don't want to buy the prepackaged jelly roll, I have some suggestions on the best tools for cutting your own 2.5-inch strips. So I hope you have a lot of fun sewing with jelly rolls this weekend and practicing our square meander. I love to see show and tell. So send me a message and let me know that you have been practicing along with our daily free motion designs. And I will see you back tomorrow, unless someone wants to jump on and chat with me tonight. I came on at a very random time, I know that. So I appreciate you showing up and seeing what's going on. Since I have a bigger live audience, I will replay some of this sketch for square meander. I just start a straight line of stitching and build squares and rectangles above and below my line. And I echo, and I'll go ahead and cross those lines. I don't really care if I'm intersecting what's previously gone on. That gives it a really fun look. And sometimes you throw a triangle in there because I get busy talking and forget what I'm doing. And just travel around. And that is square meander. So have fun with your quilting this weekend, and I will see you back tomorrow. Have a good night.